Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another rendition of Kingdoms Evolution. So, I did give this show a little thought today. I know you all appreciate that. Actually, I think about it all the time. But Iran was human abortion. And that's why. What brought up the title of my show and bringing in Iran into it was Vic Porcelli on Porcelli's Deli was wondering why women who know what Islam offers them burqas, beatings, raping 9-year-old girls. They know. They're not stupid. They know what Muhammad did. They know what Muhammad does. Infiltrate a society with lies, peace, and then in come the terrorists. The people that tell you how when there's enough of them and just try to destroy your world, like Iran's trying to destroy everybody's world right now. They're human. Iran is humanity's abortion. That's what they want. They wanted to kill everybody, not just the Jews and the Christians. They wanted to start apocalypse so that everybody would die and their quote unquote Messiah, whoever, whatever hell fiend that is, would come back to this world and rule it. That's the religion of Iran. That's what they believed. It's like some sort of sick Conan frickin' movie, you know. I just watched it on Conan, the snake guy. Basically, what's different? Really, what's different? The way they slaughter animals for halal food is disgusting. It's brutal shit with animals suffering needlessly. But yet, women are out marching in the streets for Palestine and Iran. It's like, what? It's like you're free to fight for whatever you want to fight for. You fight for the stupidest shit. And why? Why do women? And we're talking about women here. Why do women lead the charge for our country's demise? Why? And it was asked on the Vic Porcelli show, 101.9. And I tried calling him to give him the answer, but he didn't answer. He didn't pick up the phone. Dogtown Joe couldn't get through. So I'm going to give you the answer. It's really simple. Abortion. That's it. It's the only reason. It's the only thing the Democrat Party has for it. You don't think women actually want murderers and rapists to come across our border? No, the Democrat Party wants that so they can stay in power. Why do they want to stay in power? Abortion. Why do women support them? Abortion. So it all comes back. All of this comes back to abortion. And it's, I'm a guy. Very difficult, as we all know, to get into the mind of a woman. Very difficult to understand that the creator of the universe has put the ability to create God's image in her hands. But he has. Thank goodness he didn't give it to guys. Thank goodness. I brought Mary with me today. Mary's going to support me. Mary's going to keep me on the down low. Brought a little statue of Mary with me today. Here, I'll have her look at me. Remind me. Joe, be Christian. And, I'm 65. So it takes, I can't go back to when I was 12, 11, 13. I can't. I can't. I maybe can have some memories of when I was 12 or 13, but I can't go back to when I was 12 or 13, right? That experience of the hormones and becoming a sexual being, be able to reproduce, the pleasure, the absolute pleasure that is derived from sex. and finding that out. I mean, I go back and it is overrode every other pleasure up to that point that I had ever experienced. And not just by a little bit. I mean, I guess I'd gotten dizzy. I enjoyed getting dizzy. I was watching on St. Patrick's Day. I was watching some little kids run around in circles, and that's kind of like the first high, getting dizzy, isn't it? The rides, the rides, and the thrill. It's kind of the first high is getting dizzy. But the overall overwhelming pleasure of sex when it first starts for guys and the hormones that brought it forward it's overwhelming. I mean, there's nothing else like it. I mean, there was nothing else like it. Sports was fun, but it wasn't sex. I mean, it wasn't sex. So, the desire to reproduce and to procreate hits human beings very young. 13, 14, 12, very young. And it's an overriding desire, demand. And guys, from what I remember, the desire for pleasure, although girls matured earlier than guys, the drive for that pleasure was much more fired up in guys than girls. Like, girls understood it. Guys just wanted it. That's it. I mean, that's all there is to it. And at some point in time, some girls going through the hormone change felt the same way. But a lot of girls, I think, just were kind. Because guys would do anything. Guys would do anything for that pleasure, because it was overwhelming. It was so powerful. So why am I going here? Why am I going here? Because I want to go back. I want to get inside the head, and it's impossible to do. Like I said, dangerous territory of women that support Islam and communism, to support in a Democrat Party, the end of America, the open borders, anything. They'll support. Women will support anything the Democratic Party throws out for one reason: abortion. That's it. You can paint it, you can do whatever you want to it, you can call it something else, you can however you want to do it. But there's one reason why the support of the liberal progressive woman will most likely never leave the Democrat Party. And that is abortion. So we're going to try to peel some of the beautiful Christian women who still support the Democrat Party. We're going to try to walk into a logic here. And I don't even know where this logic's going to go, guys. I really don't. I have not thought this through this much. But we're going to try to reason with some of these women who see what the Islamic Party is. They don't want to wear a burqa. They don't want their daughters to wear a burqa. They don't want their daughter to get raped or married at 9 years old to a 50-year-old Muslim. They kind of see the danger. They don't want their daughter to get raped by an illegal alien rapist murderer. They kind of see the danger. But there's this raw, this soulless fight in their hearts that tells them abortion needs protection. Like, if we don't, because I don't know why. I don't know why. I kind of maybe know why, but we're gonna talk. I wish I had somebody on here to talk to, but we're just gonna guess. Okay, we're going to go into that mind, and we're gonna see if we can't affect it. It's gonna be a dangerous show. That's why I brought Mary in. This is gonna be a dangerous show. I'm going where no man dare tread. The mind of a teenage girl. Teenage guys were simple. Teenage girls, not so much. All right. I think the hormones affected women's minds much more than it affected their bodies. So, because they're just so much smarter than guys, so much smarter, so much smarter on every level. So, but we're going to go there. We're going to go there. Dullard is going to go there, and we're going to see if we can't, not a psyop. I don't want a psyop. I don't want to affect their minds without telling them why we're having this conversation. But I want to get into this conversation that perhaps when you're having a conversation with somebody and they know what Islam is, they know what communism is, they know that's what the Democrat Party has become, and yet they're still put that Democrat sign in their front yard. Know it's for one reason. Know why they're doing that. It's for abortion. It's for abortion. That's it. That's the only reason. And they can say it's transgenderism. They can say it's because they're gay. But gay people are killed under Islam. So there's no reason for a gay person to support Islam. They can't be that stupid. I'm not going to give them that stupid. But we're not going with the stupid people. We're not trying to talk to the stupid people. Do you understand me? We're not trying to talk to stupid people. We're trying to talk to educated women, American women that are today free, maybe within they're old enough to have children. Maybe they're very young. They're in high school, college. Other, past birthing age, middle age. They can still have babies, but probably won't. But they're Democrats. And the reason that they're Democrats, I won't say it again. We all know the answer. And I think that's what I want to kind of drill into you. Like this, you can paint it however you want to paint it. Do whatever you want to do with it. This fight, their internal fight, the fight they externalize for the Democrat Party against ICE is all centered around abortion. You say, Joe, that's not what they say. That's not what they think. I'm telling you, deep down, that's all this is about. That's all this is about. Because they can't be for open borders. They can't be for Islam. They can't be for rapists and murderers. They can't be for old men marrying 9-year-old girls and raping them. They're not for it. They're not for it. They're rational, intelligent human beings. So their support for the Democrat Party has to go deeper than that. It has to go to a connect like a sacrament. Like me eating the body and blood of Jesus Christ every Sunday is a sacrament. So abortion to Democrats is the sacrament. It's the sacrament. It is the power cube per se, that lights, that connects Islam, communism, and the Democrat Party. And it's what affects rational human beings to make irrational decisions. So we're not going to try to change all their minds. We're not, we're not going to go into the people that run Planned Parenthood, the Margaret Sanger racist, kill black people by aborting them mindset. We're not; those people are Satanites. They've made their deal with the devil. They know they're going to spend eternity in hell. They don't understand what eternity in hell is. They don't catch a clue. They don't have an idea. Gnashing of teeth, I could take that. Worm food, oh, I can take that. No, you can't. No, you can't, you dumbass. That's all eternity. That never ends. Never ends. Other Christians are walking into the light, holding the hand of Jesus, watching Jesus save their lives, and you think you're going to be able to handle the gnashing of teeth and worm food and the fires of hell for all eternity. No, dumbass, you're not. You're not going to be able to do it. So you think you're supportive of abortion, if you paint it in a different color, for empathetic for the immigrants, the people that broke into, the invaders. Your empathy for the invaders. Like, oh, I won't say abortion's my only thing that I care about. I'll say I care about the illegal invaders that are here and their children, and that'll make it no. That's not why you support the Democrat Party. That's not why you're against ICE. You're against ICE for abortion. Just admit it. Just admit it. You see a 13-year-old girl. This is what you see. This is what I think. So here's the danger part. Mary, stay with me. You see a young woman. Let's just say Mary. 16, 17. I don't know how old Mary was. She was not, when Jesus was 31, Mary was not, she was not in her 70s. She was still a young woman. She was still probably in her 50s or even, maybe in her 40s when Jesus died on the cross. So she was a young woman, single, when she got pregnant. Right? So Mary, in today's world, in America, would have a choice, right? A choice. Not only did she have a choice about, not only would she have a choice about getting pregnant with God's child, she would have a choice later on, 6 months down the road. Oh God, this is really going to affect my marriage with Joseph. I've had a chance to think about it, and we're just, I've changed my mind. I'm going to abort Jesus. American women would support that. The light and joy of all eternity for hundreds of millions of souls over the past 2,000 years would have been a choice for Mary in today's America. If you hear something in the background, it's not my wife snoring. It's one of the techs here who works hard. I'm just, so this is not me. Try to ignore it. All right, so that's what American women want for Mary. That's what they want for themselves, because I think this is what they see. They see themselves. They see themselves as a 14-year-old girl who was just, not because they had a strong libido, but was just trying to figure out the birds and the bees. They had a libido, but trying to figure out the birds and the bees. Maybe they had a couple early cocktails before they should be drinking. And at 14 years old, they've made a terrible decision, and boom, they're pregnant. And they see themselves as that 14-year-old girl, and they see this, or their daughter, or their granddaughter, and they see that as power, that power of choice. Or maybe they see, maybe they had sex, maybe they got raped. when they were younger. And maybe they did or maybe they didn't get pregnant. But they think, well, it shouldn't ruin my whole life. It shouldn't ruin my body. I shouldn't have to have this baby if I got raped. And so they take all of this and they internalize it. Internalize it, right? So they think to themselves, well, if that was me, I would have wanted to have the right to have an abortion. If that was me, I wouldn't have wanted to have a child in high school. If that was me, I want to make sure that any girl that's pregnant in high school doesn't have to have a child in high school. And when they internalize it like that, make it personal, it is so easy for them to say Democrat. Because Republicans don't necessarily want women to have that right. We don't. We don't think the right to an abortion is a woman's right. I don't. I don't think it's her right. I think if God would have meant for women to have the right to have an abortion, to be able to end their pregnancy, God would have made it so they could. But God didn't make it so they could abort their own child, did he? No, God did not make it where a woman could choose to end a pregnancy. And you're like, Joe, what are you talking about? Women end their pregnancy all the time. They have an abortion. It's like, no, women don't. Women don't end their pregnancy all the time. They don't. And you're like, I'm confused. And I get it. I get that you're confused. Because who ends a woman's pregnancy? Not the woman. The woman doesn't end her pregnancy. The abortion clinic does. The doctor does. The nurse does. Women can't end their pregnancy without a pill, without an abortion doctor, without somebody helping them. So society has to make a decision to help them end. So that's why. So, I see. So if it were just up to the girl that's pregnant to end her abortion, to choose, she could just say, I don't want to have this baby. And the baby would die and come out. But that's not how it works, is it? No, it's not how it works. They have to go to a doctor, to a medical professional, and end their pregnancy. Why? Why do they have to go to a doctor? Why do they have to go to a clinic? Because they can't do it themselves. Because they don't have that power. They don't have that right. But women, since Roe versus Wade, since the abomination of Roe versus Wade, have grown up thinking they have this right to an abortion, to kill a child. And so when you talk like I'm talking right now, you go, you're over the top. You're out there, Joe. You can't just tell a woman she can't have an abortion. Like over 50% of the people in Missouri voted for abortion. Like this is political suicide. Well, what do you think supporting Islam is? What do you think supporting open borders for rapists and murderers is? It's suicide. It is absolute 100% suicide. What do you think protesting ICE, arresting illegal rapists and murderers is, and pedophiles? What do you think that is? It's suicide. It's absolute suicide. And yet, Democrat women are out there protesting for the Palestinians. What did the Palestinians do? They took billions of dollars, built bombs and tunnels, and went and slaughtered 1,200, 1,700 Jews when they were celebrating music and peace. So it's like, talk about suicide. And American women are fighting for them. Columbia University is fighting for Islam. But what they're really fighting for is abortion. And I don't know if you're keeping track of how many times I say the A word, but I've said it a lot. Too many times. I should be varying my nouns. If I were writing a paper, I'd be looking at that word going, man, I got to find a different word because at some point in time, you've just used that word too many times. So how do we talk to a middle-aged girl, middle-aged woman whose entire sacrament of their life is the memory of them being 13, 14, 15 years old, having sex, and finding out the nightmare of an unwanted pregnancy? How do we talk to them? Because honestly, that's the conversation. That's the conversation we got to have with some of them, not with all of them, because some of them are Margaret Sangers. They want all the black people dead. And they may not say it, but that's who Planned Parenthood is. That's how she started the abortion clinics, to abort all the black babies for genetic engineering in America to try to wipe out the black population. That's who Planned Parenthood is. Margaret Sanger, that's who they are. Now, is that the person that believes, that votes for the Democrat Party and is pro-abortion? Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. Probably not the majority of them. But that's who started aborting, and why they put all the abortion clinics in inner cities is so they could abort black babies. That's what they really want to do. They wanted to destroy the black population. Probably until, probably up until Lyndon B. Johnson came up with the great put them on the government plantation for their entire lives by taking men out of the poor households by saying you couldn't get welfare if there was a man in the household, right? So then maybe they figured, we don't really want them to have abortions anymore because we can, this loose sex and early pregnancies get more people on the Democrat payroll. And that's where this is all from, guys. It's just the Democrat Party building their power base through terrible humanitarian policies, including abortion, including government structured welfare that takes the man out of the household, because they know single mom households are a nightmare. They're a nightmare. A young man that doesn't have a father is lost. So many times lost. And I'm not saying they're all lost. There's exceptions. But bastard is just a word. The reason why bastard has such a bad connotation is because young men without dads usually turn into, if bastards were great for society, then the connotation of the word bastard wouldn't be bad. It would be great. Oh, great, you're a bastard. No. The reason they came up with their bastard is because they turn out to be shits. Oftentimes. And those shits destroy because they've gotten no guidance on what it is to be a man. All right, let's get back. I'm kind of went down. I'm not like Trump. Trump can go down these avenues and then come back to it, and all's good. We're still on talking to the young lady at 14 that's now 30, maybe 40, maybe 50, and they're thinking of their daughters. They're thinking of their granddaughters in an unwanted pregnancy, and they're willing to sell all of it down the road, thinking that they're being altruistic, protective of their sacrament for their children and their granddaughters, their daughters, their great-granddaughters, because this sacrament is all they can see, that ability of a life being, they see their lives being ruined by an unwanted pregnancy. Rape, voluntary, alcohol, doesn't matter. If it's an unwanted pregnancy, they want the absolute right to be able to terminate it. And anything or anybody that stands against that is evil incarnate. That's the battle here. That's where we got to go. That's what we got to change. That's what we got to fight. Only you can't fight it. You can't fight that. You can't fight that sacrament, that power, because these are far more intelligent people than we are, than I am. Far more intelligent. They know so much more than I do, so much smarter. And God bless the fact that they are. God bless it. So where do we carve into this sacrament, this thought process, this attachment to their youth? How do we assuage it? How do we get between them and the protection that they feel, and the power, also the power? There's some power in here, right? There's some power in here. Mary had the choice of whether or not to have God's child, but she only had that choice at the beginning. Some women don't even get that choice, right? They get raped. God gave Mary a choice. She chose yes. She wasn't married. Her whole life was destroyed. Her whole life, as she envisioned it, marrying Joseph. Great name, by the way. Shout out to Joseph Toth, my namesake, and Saint Joseph. Her whole life was ruined at a young age. She had a brilliant life. She had a man she loved. She had a way forward. Their marriage was planned. And now she's pregnant because God asked her. Her whole life is destroyed. What if Mary would have had a choice 3 months in, 6 months in? We'll use Mary. We'll pray to Mary. What if Mary would have had a choice? If she was American or European? 3 months into her pregnancy, Joseph is going to leave her. Joseph's not going to marry her. Her family is destroyed. The angels have talked to Joseph, but Joseph doesn't believe him. Joseph doesn't want to be a father to God's child. He wants his own child. And he doesn't believe it's God. He thinks it's a Roman soldier or somebody else. He doesn't believe it. He thinks he's just having nightmares and he's going crazy. But he doesn't believe Mary is going to be giving birth to God. And he begs Mary to have an abortion. He puts a lot of pressure on Mary because in that day and age, or even in America today, I'm not going to support you. I'm not going to support the child. I'm going to tell everybody that you're a terrible person and that nobody should love you. Nobody should, trust you, that you're just a harlot and a whore. And Joseph turns out to be a piece of shit. Joseph is a total piece of shit. Now Mary, 3 months in, at first she was excited about giving birth to God's child. Now she's lost all her support. Her family, maybe even her family threw her out. Maybe her family didn't believe her. Her parents. She's lost all support. She knows she has God's child in her womb, but nobody else does. Nobody else believes her. And you've got Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger saying there's an option, Mary. I've got an option. Come to the clinic. Come to the clinic. We'll set you free. We'll set you free, Mary. You won't have to be pregnant anymore. Can you imagine? The creator of the universe never gets born, never sees the light of day. Jesus never walks the face of the earth, never creates miracles. God's plan is destroyed. None of us ever get to see heaven. There's no St. Patrick. There's no St. Spencer staff. There's no anything because Mary was under a lot of pressure at a young age by her future fiance, by her family, to not have a baby and ruin her life because she wanted to go to college. She had things she had to do, things that were important, more important than that baby. And we're back to a life without God. And what does that life without God look like, my friends? It looks a lot like Iran. That's what it looks like. It looks an awful lot like Iran. Human beings, just animals, being driven by their basest instincts. Guys physically dominating women for pleasure. That's what it looks like. That's what life is without Mary. Without Mary bringing Jesus to us. That's what life is. Without Jesus, there's no Constantinople. There's no civilization. It's just slaughter upon slaughter upon slaughter. What thousands and thousands and thousands of years prior to Jesus' birth had brought to humankind. I'm guessing God doesn't keep his vows to the Jewish people because the Jewish people have severed God's plan. So if you've severed God's plan for saving all these people with the Son of God, how is God, you've severed the contract. All because Mary wanted to have a baby-free life at that point in time because it ruined all the things that she was working on. But Mary didn't falter. Mary told all of them no. Mary said, I want to carry the child of Jesus. And God provided for her. God provided to Joseph. God provided to her parents. We have to figure out a way to talk to those women. We have to figure out a way for them to understand that life could change the universe. That life that woman is carrying is the image of God, the creator of the universe. And you may think you have the right. You may want the right. You may want the power, but you simply do not. And is it enough? Is it enough that we just do everything we can to encourage, make it easier, as my one very wise Jewish friend said, to fight to make it where there's no unwanted pregnancies? And we can fight for that. I'm absolutely for fighting for that. Absolutely. I know Billy Bush does a ton of things to help. Just a brilliant St. Louisan, does a ton of things to help single moms. And there's so many people out there that help single moms and abused moms deal with fatherless homes and bringing babies and children up in loving homes where the father is a piece of shit. And absolutely, we can make those worlds. We can make those worlds. And Trump did a beautiful thing with the Trump accounts, right? TrumpAccounts.gov. So Trump has done a beautiful thing. Many of the Republican Party has done a beautiful thing with the TrumpAccounts.gov by funding the capitalists, the free markets, with an investment in their lives by giving them a starter kit for enjoying capitalism and success and joy with TrumpAccounts.gov. So we can do better. There's got to be 1,000 more things that we can do. There's got to be 1,000 more things that we can do. But we've somewhere, and I'm not saying tomorrow or next week, that we need to outlaw all abortions. But we have to come to a place, both for young men and young women, where reason overwhelms the hormones. And I know it's like impossible. And then throw in alcohol. It's impossible. Can't be done. And I know it can't be done. And that's part of the battle that we all fight, because we all know in our hearts that teenage and the coming of age and the hormones and that pleasure of sex is impossible to overcome with reason. There's no reason. And then when you throw in alcohol, there's really no reason. then there's just pleasure. Then there's just the drive. And we all understand it. We get it. It's just like we get it. And that's why we all kind of waffle on this edge. We all kind of waffle on this edge of like, well, how hard do we fight against, for pro-life? How hard do we fight for it? Because we all kind of understand, like, we all like sex. We get it. We get it. It's a driving force, and God has made it a driving force. And God has made reproduction and having and sex so pleasurable. And so how do we fight against sex? And it's like, it's so hard to do. It's like you can't. It's like, well, you can, but it's nuanced. It's nuanced, right? So there's two ways to fight against drives: fear and reward. So fear would be for gentlemen, for guys, if you get a girl pregnant, you will have to work the rest of your life to support that baby. Like, the government's not going to do it. You're going to do it. We know who you are. We can test the DNA now. And you're going to spend the rest of your life working to support that baby, whether you like the mother or don't like the mother. You're going to work the rest of your life to support that child. And it's going to be X amount of your salary. And we're just going to take it. We're just going to take it. So you'll be working, whether you're involved in that child's life or not, you're going to financially work to support that child the rest of your life. And if you're in college, we don't give a shit. You're in high school, we don't give a shit. You created this child, we'll take it from your parents. We're going to get enough money to support this child. Bring in the whole family. Everybody's going to pay. You had sex with a girl, you had a baby, you're paying. Your family's paying if you're too young to have a job, but everybody's paying for this baby, to support this baby. Okay, that's fear. That's pretty good fear. Because, that sex lasts about 5-10 minutes, and for that sex, you will be working and giving and having your money taken from you to support that child. That's legitimate fear. That's legitimate fear. For the woman, say kind of the same thing. They already understand the fear. That's their child. They're going to have their body's going to be affected. Their ability to be attractive to men is going to be affected because now they've got a child to support. Get it? Right. I know you do. So women kind of catch this responsibility because women can't detach themselves. But now with DNA testing, neither can men. You didn't have DNA testing before, but now you do. So, and then we can also, so that's kind of the fear factor. So we can up the fear factor. And the reward factor, you've got to be somewhat careful on the reward factor with adoption and other things because you don't really want to encourage pregnancy in any way, shape, or form. You just don't want to do that because that gives a perverse incentive to somebody who's not having a child out of love to have a baby. And you don't want to do that because that is human nature. And when you create a reward for something that is against human nature, that rewards bad human action, bad human behavior, you get a problem. So it's kind of a fine line there. I guess where I tried to go with the show today, and I know it's really hard to do. It's really hard to do. Is to get into that spirit and say your sacrament is bullshit. Your sacrament of turning everything behind and supporting every empathetic, suicidal empathy, Islam, communism, open borders for rapists and murderers, for enemy combatants. Your suicidal empathy is bullshit. That's all it is bullshit. What we should be focused on is protecting young women from unwanted pregnancies, making sure middle-aged women and women that know better are protected from unwanted pregnancies, and doing everything we can. Free birth control, 100%, 100%. Any woman that wants birth control should 100% have access to birth control, 100%. But it should always be with the stipulation that, if you get pregnant, you can get pregnant even with birth control. And if you get pregnant, you're having that baby. So the easiest way not to get pregnant is to not have sex. And there will be exceptions. There will be exceptions, and greater minds than mine can figure out those exceptions, right? Greater minds than mine, rape, incest. Greater minds than mine can figure out if it's, if somehow all of a sudden, because it's rape or incest, that we now have the right to take an image of God out of this world. That's beyond my pay grade, kids. I'm new to this whole, I shouldn't say I'm new to it, but I kind of am new to it because certainly this was not, I had no idea of the implications of abortion when I was young. None. And very few of the guys do. The only thing that I had on my mind and as a young man was sex is very pleasurable and I want pleasure. And I'm sure there's a lot of other guys that are out there like that. We need to put fear of God, fear of responsibility, fear of their lives changing as much as the women. Maybe the women aren't the focus here. Maybe it's the guys. Maybe it's both of them. But the women seem to carry on. Dude, that's like a Shakespearean word, to carry on much longer into life and to see their lives much more affected by childbirth than the guys do. And that's why they're so pro-abortion. because they see themselves in this unwanted pregnancy. They see their granddaughters, and they'll do anything. They'll sell out to Islam. They'll sell out to communism. They'll sell out to the Democrat Party, which, by the way, is the same thing. But let me tell you, ladies, who the greatest wannabe abortionist is of all time. And that is the Iranian regime. Because the Iranian regime wanted to abort all humanity through nuclear weapons and create the Armageddon. And theoretically, if you push this out with the sacrament that you take, the sacrament that you believe in, the sacrament that you sacrifice all of our freedoms for, abortion, if you take this out, you are Iran. You are Iran. You are supporting the abortion of humanity by voting for the Democrat Party in America. And you say, oh, that's over the top. You can't say that. That's not true. It's like, well, think about it. Think about it. Because if you're willing to abort a baby, if you're willing to abort, if you think killing a child, the image of God, is okay, then what's wrong with Iran wanting to kill all of us? Just because that child is defenseless makes it easy to kill him doesn't mean it's right to kill him. And that's all Iran wants to do to everybody. They just want to kill us. Like, you think it's a right to kill that child. So if you draw it out logically, by supporting abortion, you support the same theory and philosophy of Iran. Just think about it. Stop voting for Democrats. They hate us. They hate you. Amen, I say unto you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for joining me on this show. Thank you, Jesus. And then everybody, you guys have a great weekend. That's the end of the show. And maybe, I haven't really given you any tools, but I think if you just understand that that's a good place to go. Like, what's the difference between somebody who wants to abort all of humanity versus a single woman that just wants to abort an unwanted pregnancy? It's ending a life. It's ending a life, right? It's cheering on, supporting, voting for, building clinics, paying doctors and nurses to end a life. That life could have been Jesus. If Mary were alive today, you're saying she should have had that choice to kill Jesus in her womb? Like, that would have been okay? Maybe if we treat every pregnancy like that was Jesus in the womb, and the future of humanity depended, the future of humanity and eternal joy depended on the joyous upbringing of that child, that we would all see things a little differently. And Satan's out there, King Herod is out there with Planned Parenthood. That's who Planned Parenthood is, King Herod, wanting to kill all the firstborn Jews. All right, everybody, Joe Finn out. Have a great weekend. It's going to be beautiful here in St. Louis. My golf game is terrible. Let's see. What are we gonna do? Here we go. I like this one. We'll end it with this one.
Screaming in a mic, playing a Strat through a Vox AC30. Gives a troublesome back and a ringing in the ears. My last band covered the Clash, the Kinks and the Replacements. Seems my soul is as misspent as my years. I got a Princeton reverb, It's in an old ample case. It's in the back of a Ford Econoline. It's a 6-hour drive to Austin and the Continental Club. I gotta change the strings on my ES 335. Tell the devil that I'm getting there as fast as I can. Playing a Sunburst Gibson in a hand, all country band, and loving a woman who can now cuss any man. Tell the devil that I'm getting there as fast as I can. I met her in LA, we was opening for Sunvolt. She had eyes mascaraed like Eva Green. She sparkled with wildness like the blue yonder. She'd done a time in darkness and was 2 years clean. She wears an old leather jacket, and it was made by Irish saints, and boots engraved with skulls and thorns.